Have you heard about the 8 rules of money? Well, if you haven't, by the end of this video you will know all 8 rules of money and how you can use them to get ahead. I promise you that. Now, let me ask you a question. If a maniac was wandering the streets and decided to use a hammer to break into people's cars, would that make the hammer bad? What if he used that hammer to help free a puppy from a locked car? Would that hammer then be good? What would that hammer be? I hope you said nothing, because that's the correct answer. The hammer isn't a good tool or a bad tool. The hammer is just a tool. The way a person uses the tool makes all the difference, and that leads us to rule number 1, which is money is a tool. Nothing more and nothing less. Money is not good, money is not bad, money is not evil. The greed and love for money is evil, but money on its own is just a tool. Therefore, it's down to you to use it for its intended purpose, as a tool to make you more money and help build your life, a life of financial independence. And the best way to do that is to invest, so your money is out there working for you. Also, don't be scared to spend money on starting a business or buying a treat once in a while that you can easily afford, because for money to have any value in this world, like any tool, it needs to be used. It has to be in flow. It has to be used to trade, because that's what rule number 2 is. Money is an exchange of value. Picture this. You are a barber and have been for a couple of years now, so you decide to open up your very own barber shop. Now, on the grand opening day, you have a flock of customers and rake in the cash. You're onto a winner, you think. But fast forward a year and your business is barely surviving, but the barber shop you used to work at is booming. They are branching out and opening more stores. Why is that? Why is their shop booming while yours is on the brink of closure? The answer is quality. You are simply not offering quality haircuts. Therefore, people do not return and decide to go somewhere else. And to make it worse, they also tell their friends not to come to your shop because the quality is bad. Therefore, they scare away potential new customers, while the other barber shop offers nothing but quality haircuts. Therefore, not only do they have loyal returning customers, they also have these customers doing their marketing for them through word of mouth by telling their friends and family that this shop does quality haircuts. You see, to earn money, you need to offer quality goods or services. They need to be valuable to the customer, and the more value you offer the customer, the more money you will make, because as rule number 2 states, money is an exchange of value. Question: do you know what the main reason is for 6-figure earners to be living paycheck to paycheck? I will let you have a think about what the main reason is, and I will reveal the answer later on in the video. Now let's move on to rule number 3, which is debt can work both ways. If you are in debt, then yeah, it can feel bad and discouraging, but debt can be used both ways. It doesn't really favor anyone, it's just how you use it. If you are using debt to buy liabilities, things that are going to cost you money and devalue in price, then you are using it wrong. Therefore, you will end up in financial difficulties. But if you are using debt the correct way, that is using it as leverage, then it can make you wealthy. For example, taking out debt to purchase things that are appreciating assets that either go up in value, create cash flow, or do both is the correct way to use debt. Because instead of using your own money to start a brick and mortar business, you instead take out a business loan from a bank and use that to set up your business. Then once the money starts rolling in, all you have to do is pay your loan back to the bank. This way you use very little of your own money, which means you can invest your money and make that work for you in other ways while using the bank's money to fund your business. Now, understanding what is good debt and bad debt comes down to understanding what are assets and what are liabilities. Let me ask you this. Say you bought a brand new yellow Lamborghini, it looks good and drives fast. People are looking at you and you feel like $1 million. But does that make it an asset or a liability? Our cars are assets or liabilities. This leads us to rule number 4, understanding what are assets and liabilities. Cars are a liability, but you would be surprised by how many people think that they are assets. Now, they can be assets if you use your car to earn an income, but if that's not the case, then 99 out of 100 times they are liabilities. Liabilities are items that you own that lose you money either by their value going down or actively taking money away from your pockets to fund it, while assets are items that you own that either increase in value or provide you with cash flow. They are making you money. This is an important rule to understand because this could be the reason why someone is living paycheck to paycheck and struggling while another person is doing well and is financially free. Put simply, if you own more assets than liabilities, your financial situation will be strong and you will be better off for it. But if the opposite is true, if you own more liabilities than assets, the weaker your financial situation will be. Therefore, your life will be more difficult. So, let's prevent that. Try to stay away from bank debts, credit card debts, car debts, and commercial debts. Instead, focus on building up assets. Some example of assets that you could potentially invest your money into are stocks, bonds, real estate, cash ISAs, inventory of goods and machinery, and commodities, among many other type of assets. And one of the main reasons you need to invest in assets is to prevent your money from being eroded by inflation. Because if you do nothing with your money and decide to leave it chilling in cash, whether it's in your current account or under your mattress, then it's just being eaten up by inflation every year, which is rule number 5. Money needs to be in flow and working for you to stop it losing its value. As I've mentioned earlier, money is a tool, and if you just leave it sitting still, then it's going to lose value due to yearly inflation. So we need to get it working for us, and the best way to get money working is to invest it. Think of investing as planting a seed in the ground, and with care and time, that seed will grow into a tree and bear fruits for you to eat. But the best way to have unlimited food all year round is to diversify your seeds, which will produce you with different kinds of food. Investing takes time, but it's the only way to make your money not lose value and potentially make you very rich. Now, remember that question I asked earlier on. Do you know what the main reason is for six-figure earners to be living paycheck to paycheck? Well, the answer is lifestyle inflation. As they earn a lot more money, they also spend a lot more, upgrading the place they stay, the car they drive, going out to eat more often, and so on. Which leads us to rule number 6, which is to spend less than you make. Basic knowledge here, but at the end of the day, wealth and the accumulation of money comes from a gap between spending and income. The bigger this gap, the more you can save, which means the more cash you have to invest and start compounding your wealth. If you make £100,000 a year but end up spending £100,000 on things that are not assets, just liabilities, then you end up being at net zero by the end of the year. Meanwhile, someone who earns only £50,000 but saves £10,000, then they are already up by £10,000. If this scenario plays out for 10 or more years, then these two people are not going to be in the same league when it comes to the amounts they have saved or invested. It doesn't matter how much money you make if you cannot live below your means. If you cannot spend less money than you make, then you will always be chasing after money instead of having money come to you. And you know, the longer you chase, the more likely you are to trip up. And imagine you tripped up while you had one basket full of eggs on you. Now all your eggs are broken and you have nothing left, empty-handed. That's why you never want to put all your eggs in one basket, because you'll be too reliant on that basket. You need to diversify and place your eggs in different baskets. So if one basket collapses, then it's not a big deal, because you have other baskets that are still strong. And by doing this, you protect yourself, which leads us to rule number 7, and that is learn to protect your wealth and diversify. By not investing your money into one company, but instead spreading your investments into multiple different companies, industries and platforms, you minimize your risk of losing money if one company or industry isn't doing too well. This also applies to not just investing, but to make money as well. You need to diversify your income stream, so if one stream shuts, you're not left without an income source. Now, have you heard the saying that money is an amplifier? Money is like a magnifying glass. So whatever traits people have or people were hiding before are now 10 times bigger, and people can now notice them in plain sight. If the person was arrogant before they had money, then they are still the same arrogant person, just with lots of money. If the person was humble and generous before that, they are still going to be that humble and generous person, just with lots of money. And that is the essence of rule number 8, which is money doesn't change people, it shows who they really are. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that investing is like planting a seed, but you can only plant that seed if you have the finance for it in the first place. And this has become a major problem that all of us are facing right now, especially Gen Z. So check out this video to see why Gen Z is quietly giving up.